you love to play. Oh, you love to play. Don't your comments won't relay. Sign this on my page for you. Oh my God, he changed. Young life, I can't see back karma. I just need some brains so I could keep myself in order.
He got problems, she got problems, only I got 411 problems. Hey, hi, what's up, y'all? It's time for another story time. So, since we are in the Olympic era, in the Olympic situation, I thought about once I told this story, once I told the story about being home alone while my mom was going for the Olympics. And remember, I told y'all, like, that was going to be the only instance that I tell because other things happen, but I'm just not telling those. But I'm going to tell this one. This one is, I thought about it while I was telling the other story, and I was like, oh, I need to tell that because it's iconic, it's rememberable. Anyway, so you can go and look up and search that there was a bombing at the Olympics in Atlanta because that's the Olympics that my mom worked. She was working and assisting the Olympics in Atlanta. So I'm just basically giving like my point of view of how all that stuff went down as far as how it affected my family, so to speak. So me and my mom talked about a lot, especially because with her being a cop, like they instructed and told her like you have to create, of course everybody's supposed to have an emergency contact, but they also told her like you have to talk to your family at least every like 6 months, like y'all have to have like some kind of plan of what you wanted to do because of course being an officer, like you never know what the day is gonna bring, so you're constantly in danger, so you need to have like stuff in plan of what you wanted. And so like the last time that we did talk about the conversation before she went to Atlanta, like she said like she was like, don't bury me in my uniform, I don't want to be buried in my uniform. She was, and I was like, do you want to be buried or cremated? And she was like, whatever y'all decide. Stuff like that. Like she would go into details like that. She tried to one specific conversation. She tried to do it with me and my sister, but my sister hung up because she said she didn't want to like talk about it. But yeah. So before she went to Atlanta, it was like we need to have this conversation of what I wanted, just in case, something happens. And so I was like, okay. So she, most of the time, like we had already talked about it, so most of the things that she wanted hadn't changed. Her biggest thing was everything was always going to be split evenly between her 3 children. So she made that very apparent. And so she was like, no children, is left out. Me personally, like once my mama passed away, because things happen that I haven't discussed or I haven't said on my YouTube channel, that I really didn't believe like I was still, like I thought like her plans had changed or whatever, because there were people in her ear that I still have proof about. So yeah, so I thought, years later that things had changed, but still no, she remained adamant about it. Anyway, so we had the conversation, and then she was giving me like the rundown, as I told y'all, like of how to pay the bills, check the mailbox every day, make sure you go to school, etc., etc. So I told y'all like I'm strategic, so I'm listening to everything that I need to get done. So it was like I'm gonna be here by myself, and I love to be by myself anyway. She had told me like even at the age of 4, she was like, girl, 4 or 5, you was like, just leave me here, I'll be here when I get back, and I'll be here when y'all get back. She was like, girl, get in the car. So I've always been that type where I'm a homebody, like I like to be home by myself. But basically, like the rundown, don't have nobody in my house. You know what? Like, I didn't realize how much that's a big thing until later on, until I became a parent. But anyway, so yeah, like she was giving rundowns and stuff like that. So anyway, she left. She's in the Olympics. She's been there for, I think, like, if I'm not mistaken, she had been there for like a month and a half. I think like a month and a half. And so I had like a certain routine. So this specific night, which was crazy, was I in my room? I was in my room. So this specific night, I was home. Wasn't out with Wildin' Out, wasn't out with Nia, wasn't no kind of plans or nothing. And it was so crazy because like one of the months that my mom was gone, street pharmacist, like you were occupied. You were occupied, so you couldn't come over either way. I never invited him to my mama's house anyway. I knew my mama was gonna judge him, and then my mom was a cop, so no. Anyway, so I was home. Like I wasn't doing anything this specific night. I was home sleeping, sound asleep. So at this specific time, my mom was she had a boyfriend. I did not like him. Still do not like him. Absolutely cannot stand him. I don't even know if that dude is dead or not, but I just, yeah. So she had a boyfriend. So I was asleep, knocked out, drooling. And the phone rings. So he didn't have like my private number, because I don't know which story time it was. I told y'all, like, we had pagers, but we also had, like, back in the day, we had our own private numbers. So meaning, like, in my room, I had my own phone line, separate from the main house phone. So the main house phone was ringing. Like, I'm in my room sleeping, and the main house was ringing, like, over and over and over and over and over. In all honesty, y'all, I thought it was my dad, because my dad used to do that to terrorize my mom and to, like, make her life a living hell. So I thought it was my dad. So I didn't move. I was just letting it ring till it get to the point where she couldn't stand it or I couldn't stand it, and we would just take it off the hook. So it wasn't bothering me because I slept with my door closed and sometimes locked. So it wasn't bothering me, but it kept ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. And so something kicked in and was like, girl, what is something wrong? Like, what if that's something about your mom? So I got up and I picked up the phone, and so it was my mom's boyfriend. And so he was like, Angel, it's been a bomb. It's been a bomb. Have you heard from your mama? It's been a bomb. And he hung up. So again, like, I'm waking up out my sleep. So I'm discombobulated, and I'm trying to get myself together. Like, I'm not fully awakened. So I'm trying to get myself together, and I'm like, what? So I'll go to the TV and turn on the TV to see, like, what's going on. So I turn on the TV, and of course, everywhere, breaking news. There's been a bomb at the Olympics. There's been a bomb. And I was
Olympic Games right here in Atlanta. But July 27th, everything changed.
We will bring it to you just as soon as it does now.
An act of terror in Atlanta early this morning. There are 2 confirmed dead, more than 100 injured.
like, okay, so, like, my mom, she had a room number, but it was still kind of hard to reach her because they had rotating shifts, like rotating schedules. So she didn't have a set schedule, so I had no idea if, like, she was in her room or if she was, sleep, or if she was at work. But the plan was, you don't call me. Like, if something is going on, you don't call me, I call you. Like, I call you to let you know. Because if she was hurt, they would call me, and I can't get in contact with you anyway. Or if she wasn't hurt, she's working, and she's not going to be able to get in contact with me. So that was the plan. Like she told me, she was like, I'll call you Wait till I call you. Right? And so, of course, there's panic now within the family. So the main house phone line rings again. And so I was like, here we go. So I answer, and it was my sister. So she was like, you see, it's been a bomb. Have you heard from mama? Have you heard from mama? I was like, no. Mama said, like, she'll call me. Like, she'll call me. She told me, don't call her, she'll call me. That was the plan before she left. That's what I was instructed. And of course, like, people on the outside looking in, I understand, like, you are stressed, but she didn't agree with it. Basically, it was like, oh, that's stupid. Like, I'm gonna call. Do you? I'm following the instructions. So you hung up, and of course you call, and of course you're not getting any answer, which of course heightens your anxiety, because now you don't know nothing. Literally, you didn't know nothing from the get go, but it's neither here nor there. And so she was like, I don't know what to do. If she call you, call me. Click. So of course, then the phone rings again. Angel, have you heard from your mama? Which is her boyfriend. No. There's been a bomb. Have you heard from her? I see that there's been a bomb. You told me there's been a bomb. No. The instructions are for her to call me. Wait for her to call me. That's what she said. Oh, man, like, you can't. I'm going to call. So, clearly, the phone is ringing. I have school tomorrow, but clearly I'm not going to get any sleep. So, I turned the TV off downstairs, go upstairs, and go to my mom's room. And I was like, I'll just sleep in my mom's room. And her phone was by her bed, like on her nightstand, was real close. So I was like, I'm not worried about, like, my phone, because I would think, like, they're not going to call my phone if something is wrong with her. They're going to call the main house phone. And instead of me standing up in the family room downstairs, I'll just go in her room and sleep in her bed where the phone is, on her nightstand, and I can get sleep and wait for whoever is going to call me. So once you wake me up, I'm up. So it takes me a while to, like, go back to sleep. Now, if you wake me up and it's like a quick question, I can kind of, like, drift back. But once you wake me up, like you've been talking to me for a good minute, I'm up. And it's going to take me a while to go back. So I'm sitting up in the bed, like, watching the TV, like, watching the stuff, unfold, watching the people, watching the faces, hearing, like, different news. I'm going through the channels, like, listening. So I'm laying in the bed and the phone rings, and this time it's my cousin next door. And so she was like, Angel, it's been a bomb. Have you heard from your mom? I said, no, I haven't heard from her. The instructions was wait for her to call. I said, so every time the phone ring, I'm either hoping it's her, or I'm hoping, like, it's something. I said, but since it just happened with all the commotion, I'm pretty sure if nothing has happened to her, she's working, and I'm not going to hear from her. She was like, yeah, you right. She was like, that makes sense. So she was like, but when you hear from her, give us a call and let us know. I said, okay, I will. So I'm sitting, of course, still in the bed, and I decided, I was like, well, let me lay down, because at this moment, like, they're kind of saying the same thing over and over, because of course they don't know, like, stats, like how many people are hurt, how many people are deceased, how many, like, they don't know nothing, to be honest. All they know is it's been a bomb. So I'm laying there, like, I'm watching, and it's like, at this point, they're saying the same thing over and over again, and I eventually drift off. Now, I had set the alarm upstairs in her room for me to get up to go to school. So my alarm goes off for school, and I haven't heard from my mama. So I was like, well, let me call. And when I got to the point to say, okay, let me call, she ends up calling, like, right before I go to school. So she calls, and she was like, good morning. I was like, well, good morning. And so she was like, you did what I asked, like, you didn't call me. She was like, other people were calling and blowing me up. She was like, and I couldn't answer. Well, she didn't say blowing me up, but like, they were calling her phone over and over. And I was like, she was like, and I couldn't answer because I was working. And I was like, which I figured, like, that's what you told me. And so she was like, but let people know if you can call and let people know, like, I'm okay. And I was like, well, truth be told, Mom, like, I'm pretty sure they want to hear your voice. They don't want to hear from me, and I got to go to school. And so she was like, you're right. And I was like, I'm glad you're okay. Like, I just wanted to make sure, like, I'm glad to hear from you and wanted to make sure, like, you were okay because, yeah, like, this is, yeah, it was just, I don't know, it was just a crazy feeling, like, not knowing, but knowing. It was like, part of it is the silence of, okay, the silence meant there's the possibility that she's fine, and then also the silence of, what if she's not fine? It's a lot. It's a lot to that just goes through your mind. Like, the unknown, the quietness is such a scary place, but it's also the no news is good news type situation, because it's like, if you're not calling me to say I'm so sorry for your loss, is a good thing. And as she stated, I'll call you. And so waiting for that, it's frustrating, but you want to also follow her instructions, so to speak. And with anything, especially and those who have police officers as parents, like, they try to prepare you, like, well, as far as I know, I don't know, you're supposed to try to, like, there's no preparation, but you're supposed to try to prepare your child, because you don't know what can happen every day. And don't get me wrong, you don't necessarily even have to, something has to happen to you on the job, but it's just supposedly, like, in that line of work, things are heightened. Like, for EMTs, for firefighters, like, once they get a call, you don't know what you're walking into, you don't know what you're facing every day. So that sort of thing. And, like, literally, my mom was going there for traffic duty, and so once the bomb happened, that escalated. And even with traffic duty, like, somebody could have hit her, somebody, it could be anything, somebody could, it's, yeah. So it's just not a real huge major story with this, but I just wanted to elaborate, because I was like, yo, like, I experienced this is more like, I guess, a reaction, I don't know. But I just wanted to share with you guys, like, that side and that point of view of having a parent who was in that situation, she wasn't, thank God, she was like, I'm not really close to that area. It wasn't her duty detail that night, but of course, once things happened, like, they had to rush to go to work. Like, of course, like, they had to help with a lot of stuff going on, because it was complete chaos. But yeah, I wish I would have talked to her about that more, but I didn't. And then again, I always thought we had time, and then again, it was a lot. Yeah. So yeah, like, I know, like, maybe sometimes, I mean, like, maybe with the title, that the adrenaline junkies, like, you think you're gonna have, like, this juicy story and get more into detail, and how basically how they went after the wrong person and all that other stuff. No, that's not this type of party. It's more of the sitting there waiting in the silence of waiting for a phone call, and you don't know what's gonna be on the other end. Being woken out of your sleep and it's a bomb, and you don't know if your mom is okay. Like, it's an experience. Like, that's just, yeah. I thought about that when I was telling the previous story that you guys saw. I thought about that, and I was like, yo, like, my mom lived through the Olympic bombing, and we, like, as a family, experienced that. And, like, looking back, you don't even think, like, yo, we went through that. Like, I don't know, like, I guess my generation, like, we're so accustomed to getting through things. Like, you get through it, you maneuver, you work through it, like, you make the best of what you're dealt with. Like, how major that, like, I really didn't realize, like, how major that is. Matter of fact, like, she should have an Olympic book bag. I'm pretty sure my sister has it. Anyway, I love you the most because you're definitely the dopest in real life. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.